All right, I am live. I am live. I am live here on YouTube. Hello, everyone. My name is Reiki Master Allison. I am here today to wrap up the series of Rooted and Radiant, your chakra health while in menopause. So, un momento, por favor, because I want to make sure that my audio is good. Okay, seems to be working. All right. Awesome sauce. Okay, I think we're golden. Perfect. All right. So I don't know what happened, y'all. I don't. I recorded my video for the third eye Chakra, and I have no idea what happened, why it happened, who done it. I don't know. But the sound was not there. And because I kept like, because I watch my stats on YouTube to see, who I can't see who has watched it, but like has any, I'll go in and I'll take a listen just to make sure everything is cool. And no, everything was not cool. There was no sound. And I was like, why is there no sound? So I apologize. Again, I have no idea what happened, but nevertheless, we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this up live instead of me recording videos. I'm just gonna do this live. But I hope you've been enjoying this series as much as I've enjoyed putting it out to the world. This is something that I've been kind of thinking about, especially now as it relates to my health, my journey, um, as a woman in perimenopause, right? Because everything about this is changing about my body, my mind. So I wanted to do this series for us to talk about those things instead of not talking about it. Okay. So let me get to my notes and we're going to talk about the third eye and we're going to talk about the crown. Hold on just a second. Okay, come on now. That's what I get for putting multiple things on one thing with my notes. So just bear with me. Okay, perfect. Now, oh my goodness. I just wanted to also add that I'm putting some content to go along with this out into the world. There's going to be some free and some paid content. So I have like all of this together, and I just got to do a better job in organizing it. All right. So menopause is that time of life that every woman is going to experience. Hate to break it to you, ladies, but we're all going to go through menopause. If you were born female, you are going to experience menopause just like you have experienced puberty, menstrual cycles, etc. It's a part of life. But it's not a bad thing. In a lot of traditions, menopause for a woman. So let me just kind of go back to talking about the different uh, phases of womanhood. So, we start off, as children, and, as a child, everything there's nothing happening that, we know of. Although behind the scenes, yeah, it's some stuff going on. But, as we grow up, we go into puberty. And so once we go into puberty, all these things start changing in our bodies. We know this, we've been through it, been there, done that, you know. Um, so we already know that that exists. So we have the maiden portion of our journey, which is our youth, which is puberty to early adulthood, right? Then we have the mother or queen um, uh, s- part of our lives, and this is our childbearing years, right? And it doesn't matter whether you've actually had children or not, you're still in, according to a lot of African traditions, you're still in that queen, that mother uh, phase. So from childbearing years through perimenopause, there's also going into like perimenopause, the queen mother aspect as well. So, as we move into this um area of consciousness, it's an emphasis on us taking our power back and standing in our power. And even though some of us may not be physical mothers, but it's still an ownership that we take because, of course, as we get older, there's supposed to be all this wisdom, right? That we're supposed to be taking in and having as we get older. So come on in and say hello. I promise I won't bite. So let's talk about the third eye. So in menopause, when we get to this point in our lives, menopause is often a spiritual awakening point. Now, I talk about my spiritual awakening in my book, Starting Over at 40, my sacred journey of self discovery, empowerment, and self love. You can find this by going to the link in my bio or the link in the description. Um, and if you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? But anyway, I talk about my journey of when I got to 40 and how stuff just started changing the way I looked at the world, the way that um, I looked at my life, about my spirituality. So menopause is kind of like this gateway time. And I would say when we say menopause, I would dare say, like perimenopause, it actually starts where you have this spiritual awakening. Your intuition starts to deepen. You may seek out more clarity and more meaning. You might start asking more questions of what's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing right now? So, for us in menopause, that's not an unusual thing. So this is where the third eye aspect comes in because the third eye is about your intuition. It's about insight and wisdom. The third eye also is about visions and dreams. So some of the things that you can use to support you during this time for your third eye health is meditation, meditation, and visualization. So I'm going to put those together because sometimes doing a meditation, adding the element of visualization to that meditation can be very helpful, especially as it relates to your third eye health, because that's what the third eye does. It's about visions, it's about imagination, it's about dreaming and intuition. So a way to activate that is to start to visualize as you are in meditation. So it's like if you want to do a visualization of, let's say, you thinking about the future as far as where you want to go now that the kids are grown. What do you want to do? You can start doing meditation, visualizing what it is that you really want out of your life. Start doing those visualizations. See yourself, close your eyes and see yourself in your mind's eye where it is that you're wanting to be. So if you're wanting, let's say you're visualizing and you're dreaming of owning a house on the lake. So see that house. Walk through that house in your mind. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Like what everything. Like what is it? Visualize that. Hold that right here and see how it feels as you're going through the visualization because you should feel like a tingling here in your third eye, which is where his third eye is. But you should start feeling that tingling when you start that visualization. And make sure when you're meditating and doing that, that you're breathing. You can just concentrate mainly on the natural rhythm of your breath. Breath work also are helpful. Then journaling. Journaling is great. My advice when you're talking about the third eye, scripting. Now, if you don't know what scripting is writing as if, meaning write as if it's already happened or happening, so it's another visualization. So instead of getting up and just writing out like how you're feeling right now or um what happened last night and how you're still kind of pissed off about it. Instead, how about writing out, I woke up this morning in my beautiful luxury home that sits on the lake. And outside my window, I hear the birds chirping. I hear the ducks as they fly towards the lake and they're swimming across, the lake. I see myself sitting on my back deck looking at the lake and drinking a cup of coffee or whatever. I see myself. I woke up and I had a cup of coffee on my deck and I sat and I just breathed and I was grateful. Things like that. So you're writing as if it's already happened because it already has. It's happened in the spiritual. You just got to get it manifested in the physical. So those are some of the exercises that you can do as it relates to the third eye. And of course, we have our affirmations. So your affirmation could be, I trust my inner wisdom. Now, here's what I actually prefer. I trust my inner wise woman. I trust my inner wise woman. And a lot of times when I think about my inner wise woman and how the older I get, the more I'm starting to trust her, I can confirm and affirm that over and over and over again that I trust my inner wise woman. Because she never stood wrong thing in me. So let's talk about some of the essential oils that you can use. So frankincense and sandalwood, those are good for the third eye. Frankincense is a very holy oil. And what I like about frankincense is as it relates to the chakras, it's very multi-purpose. So you could use it here in the spirit, like the spirit um chakras, but you can also use it on your lower, especially your root. So, because since frankincense does have that kind of woodsy kind of fragrance, it's very grounding. So it's grounding as well as uplifting spiritually. So it does double duty. So that's why I love frankincense. Frank is my guy. And then sandalwood, what I like about sandalwood, it also can be very grounding because it is of the woodsy family. But the part with sandalwood is the fragrance, the undertones of it, the softness of it. Sandalwood is not a very strong fragrance. It's actually pretty soft, in my opinion. And what I like about that is the sensuality of that sandalwood and the fragrance of it will kind of do a little like bringing alive your third eye, if that makes sense. So I would say use you some sandalwood for your third eye. Now, as far as your stones are concerned, you can use amethyst. I use amethyst a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. I love me some amethyst. And I was looking at a lot of my stones and I was like, why do I have so many amethysts? I'm like, that's not like my birthstone or anything like that, but for some reason, I have quite a few pieces of amethyst. I don't know why. But it can activate the third eye. Now, amethyst can also be a very protective stone too. Now, what I did for my beautiful aunt who has gone on and now in the ancestor realm, I had an amethyst stone that I would put in her bed next to her while she was in hospice. And I put that in her bed to help her with, because she, had dementia. So, she would have a lot of like bad dreams and visions and stuff like that because of the dementia. So, this I use to help protect her and help her visions um, be better, if you will, have better dreams. And when she passed and we had her cremated, I put the one that it was with her. I put that in the urn with her. Um, because I'm like, it's yours now, girl. So take it. So amethyst. Amethyst is a good stone. Lapis lazuli. That is a very beautiful cobalt royal blue color. There's a black woman on TikTok. Haven't seen her in a while, so I don't know if she still has them. But she had the most beautiful lapis lazuli uh bracelets, and I was like, I want to get one of those because the color was just mesmerizing. And I was like, oh my God, I want that so bad. So I think when I get off here, I'm gonna go look and see if she's still on there so I can get me one. Um, because it's very beautiful. But that is one that can truly activate the third eye. So that is all for the third eye. Now let's jump into the crown. Oh, and incidentally, the color for the third eye is a little controversial. Now, I learned that the third eye color was a dark blue, like a royal blue, like a cobalt blue, like the lapis lazuli blue. Some people um, put purple for the third eye. Um, I reserved purple for the crown, so I wore this deep, like bluish purple that would represent the third eye, but the shirt is all crown, baby. And plus, the crown also can, if I'm not mistaken, be gold or even white in some instances. But the main color is purple. So let's jump in and talk about the crown. So the crown is your spiritual connection, your purpose. This is at the top of your head. This is the portal for which spirit enters the body. So for us in menopause, since we're having these spiritual awakenings here, we can also have with the crown a deep desire for a connection to spirit or a sense of oneness within ourselves or with spirit. Um, Sometimes we can feel a little disconnected and unsure of our spiritual path. which is not uncommon because, again, when you get into this phase of life, you'll start asking those questions like, who am I? What am I really supposed to do? What is my true life's purpose? Because unfortunately, many of us were not raised to seek out your purpose. We were raised to go to work. Um, Many of us in my generation, in generations before, I'm Gen X, of course, we were raised to go to work. Yeah, find you a good paying job and go to work. Now my parents were a little different. They did encourage you to open a business if you felt the need to open a business, you felt led to do that. But not everybody had that. Some people's parents didn't encourage that. It was like, no, you need to go to work, period. You know. So at this age, with the kids being grown most of the time, you know, we're a little more settled, I guess. We know a little more, we're a little wiser, we're a little older, a little wiser. So now we're starting to question, who am I really? What am I really meant to do here? Why am I here? What is my soul's purpose? You may also just start to feel drawn to doing things because I've said this over and over again. If you've been rocking with me, I never saw this coming. Didn't didn't see it coming. Didn't see me being creating like videos, courses, stuff like I did not see that coming. I did not see the whole Reiki thing coming. Like this, where is it? This. I did not see that coming. The Reiki part, but the thing is I was open for it. Because once I hit 40, when I got into that awakening moment of awakening, I started questioning things and I started wondering, is this what am I supposed to be doing? Because what I'm doing isn't working. And I want to feel good about what I do. Plus, the other thing was my son has always known his calling. He's always known what he wants to do. Being a chef has always been his thing. It was never, "Nah, I don't wanna do that anymore." No, it's always been there. Even though there were other things that he wanted to do, the chef part was never a thing that he ever denied. And I always loved that and admired that. And so when I got to that point in my life, I was like, "You know what? I want that. I want that. I want something that stirs me up inside, something that lights me up, that feels in alignment with who I am, and I can't deny it." You know what I'm saying? So when I started putting that out into the world and saying that's what I wanted, this is what I got. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So, yeah, we start questioning our path. We start looking in other directions. This is how a lot of people are starting to walk away from organized religion and go into more spirituality, because this awakening is happening and this yearning for a connection to God. That was another thing. I did not feel like I was getting fulfilled in that way of being connected to God. I didn't feel like I really knew God like that. Because it always felt like something was missing. Um, so yes, I relate to that. So some of the things you can do to support yourself as far as your crown chakra health, spiritual study. Start studying different things. Look into different spiritual beliefs and see which ones resonate with you, what connects. Silence. This is something that is so under underutilized, underrated. Silence. Silence is truly golden. Silence, to be able to sit in silence, takes a lot of discipline. To be able to turn everything off, silence your phone, turn off your television, don't have anything playing in the background, to just sit in silence, a lot of people can't do that. Excuse me. And I submit that a lot of people can't do it because they're afraid. Yeah, I said it. A lot of people are afraid of silence because while you're in silence, that's when those intrusive thoughts start coming in and you don't know what to do with them. Get you a therapist. That's first and foremost. And I found me a new one and I love her. So, um, but anyway, prayer. Prayer is another way. Um, Now what's interesting is so for the third eye, they have meditation, and for the crown, they have prayer, or I have prayer. But I did this purposefully. I don't even know why I said they. I think because I don't know. I'm not even gonna speculate. But anyway, I had it that way. And I did this purposefully because meditation is you listening for instructions. So, okay. So if the crown is the portal, how it comes in, right? It has to go somewhere. So if you're praying, it's coming in. You're speaking to God, spirit, source, whoever. Okay. You're speaking this. And then going to the third eye is them talking back to you and giving you the vision. That makes sense? So prayer. The other thing that actually can help with all of your chakras, Reiki. Yeah, getting Reiki done and also becoming a Reiki practitioner. So anybody that's a practitioner, you might be able to back me up on this. But when I became a Reiki practitioner, I became so connected to spirit. Like when I give myself Reiki, or even someone else, the connection to spirit that I feel unmatched. And it's really a great way to open your energy up so you can receive messages from spirit, to be able to clear everything out so you can receive. So Reiki is definitely a good thing. And then of course your affirmations. So I am connected to divine wisdom. I am connected to divine wisdom. That is a perfect one. So let's talk about some of the essential oils. Someone left this in the comments of the root chakra. They talked about their use of lavender, and I wanted to be like, it's coming, just hold on. But yes, lavender. Lavender is great. Lavender is actually another one of those multi-purpose oils as it relates to um the different chakras. So lavender can help with the crown and the third eye, incidentally. Lavender can also help with your heart. It's multi-purposed. It's multi-purposed. But lavender is definitely good for the crown. The other essential oil is myrrh. Of course. Of course. Now you could even, if you wanted to flip it, where you use frankincense for the crown, which would totally work, and then use myrrh for the third eye. Let me explain. So frankincense is a very masculine energy. Is the divine masculine. Myrrh is represents the divine feminine. So if you grew up Christian, you remember the wise men brought Jesus frankincense and myrrh. One of the interesting things about Christianity is how much it um, represents the patriarchy, but you just gave Jesus frankincense and myrrh. So that means he needs to know and understand the divine masculine and feminine. So you could use the divine masculine for your crown and the feminine for your third eye. Why? Because the connection of the third eye to insight and wisdom and intuition is mostly usually associated with the feminine. So you could use myrrh and use frankincense for your crown. Either way, you can do it either way. And then for your crystals, you use clear quartz and selenite. So, in conclusion, menopause can be a sacred initiation into your next phase of life. It's it's not the end of life. It's just the beginning. It's a new chapter. It could be one rooted in embodied wisdom, unapologetic truth, and deeper alignment. Those are the things that I I see in this journey is embodied wisdom, unapologetic truth, because I am unapologetic about my truth, and deeper alignment. So by us tending to our chakras, we're creating space for empowerment and balance and peace during this powerful rite of passage that we are going through. So I hope you have enjoyed this series as much as I have enjoyed creating it. Leave me some comments, leave me some feedback. If you want to go deeper in this, let me know. And I'll put something together. But I will tell you, I do have something coming together for us, and it's called Rooted and Radiant. It's gonna be it's meditation, there's a journal, there's all kind of resources. It's gonna be awesome. So just hold your mule, it's coming. All right. In the meantime, in between time, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate all the beautiful comments y'all been leaving. Feel free to come back to all of these videos. They're gonna be here. I'm not gonna take them and put them anywhere. Come back to them, reflect on them. Um, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Thank you again. And bye for now.